So what does healing look like? I'm so glad you asked. I think one of the biggest misunderstandings about healing is that people often think of it as fixing. And fixing sounds really quick. Just get rid of the pain. Make the anxiety stop. Loosen the muscles. But healing is usually much gentler than that. Because healing isn't simply the absence of symptoms, it's the gradual return of safety, flexibility, and capacity within your nervous system. I often think of healing this way. Healing isn't the opposite of protection, it's what becomes possible when your nervous system no longer needs quite so much protection. When your body has spent months, years, even decades protecting you, it won't suddenly decide to let everything go overnight. Instead, it begins to gently test the waters. Is it safe enough to soften here? Can I breathe a little more deeply? Can I stay present instead of bracing? Healing often begins with these tiny moments of trust. Most people expect the first signs of healing to be less pain, less anxiety, less tension. And sometimes they are. But quite often, the first signs are much quieter than that. You might notice yourself laughing more often, more easily, sleeping a little more deeply, feeling calmer in situations that used to overwhelm you, having more patience for things like kids and work, feeling curious again, just like a kid, being more creative, enjoying those little moments, even wanting to spend time with people, feeling less reactive, recovering more quickly after a difficult day. Maybe you speak up a little more or set healthier boundaries, trusting yourself just a little more. These changes can be so subtle that most of us overlook them, but they're often some of the earliest signs that things are changing, that your nervous system is settling and it's beginning to feel safer. Your body is using less energy to protect you, giving you a little more energy for living. And as your nervous system continues learning that it is safe, that's often when the body can begin healing more easily, more effectively, and more completely. Pain may settle. Muscles also begin to let go. Breathing deepens, sleep improves. Your body isn't being forced to heal. It's finally finding the conditions where healing becomes possible. So, how do we help our nervous system experience this kind of safety? Fabulous question. That's one of the beautiful things about our bodies. Safety isn't just something we think about, it's something that we can experience. And those experiences we can create for ourselves. And every time we experience genuine safety, we're gently teaching our nervous system that life may not require quite so much protection anymore. Hello and welcome. I'm Sarah Gowans from Blossoming Me and the Healthy Learning Lounge, and I'm so glad you're here. Over the last 4 weeks, I've loved every minute of our journey together, and I hope that it has begun to change how you think about your own body. We've spent the last few weeks talking about protection. Today, I'd like to talk to you about something equally important: safety. Not the kind of safety we think about with our minds, but the kind of safety our nervous system responds to, that it actually feels, senses. Because healing doesn't usually happen when we convince ourselves that we're safe. It happens when our body begins to experience safety itself, little by little, moment by moment. Our nervous system is constantly asking, what am I experiencing right now, in this moment? Not what should I be feeling. That's why healing often begins with really ordinary experiences of safety. Our nervous system has its own language, as I've alluded to a few times over the last few weeks. It understands experiences more than explanations. It understands things like slower breath, warm sunshine on your skin, a cup of tea with warm hands, someone smiling kindly at you, you smiling, a genuine laugh, a peaceful walk, the sound of rain, a pet pushing against your leg, being listened to without judgment, feeling heard, feeling understood, feeling accepted, feeling like you don't have to prove yourself. These moments may seem small, but to the nervous system, they're really powerful information. They quietly say, perhaps we are okay. Perhaps we can soften just a little. Perhaps we don't need to stay on alert quite so much today. One of the most surprising things that I've learned is that curiosity itself can become a doorway into safety. When we stop asking ourselves, what's wrong with me? And begin asking, I wonder what my body is trying to tell me, something changes. We're no longer fighting ourselves. We're beginning a relationship. And relationships built on curiosity are usually much gentler than relationships built on criticism. The nervous system also responds to warmth. A warm shower, a cozy blanket, holding a warm mug of tea, hot chocolate, something nice, a gentle touch, and emotional warmth too. Kindness, compassion, feeling welcomed, feeling included, feeling like we matter. These experiences don't just feel nice, they change our whole biology. They invite our body to produce different chemistry, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins, hormones and neurotransmitters that support connection, restoration and healing. Perhaps one of the most beautiful things about being human is that we weren't designed to regulate our nervous system alone. Our nervous system grows, flourishes in relationship, and they heal in relationships too. Sometimes healing begins with somebody sitting next to us, listening, not trying to fix us, simply helping us feel understood. That experience can become one of the safest places our nervous system has known. As those experiences build, something remarkable begins happening inside our body. Not overnight, not dramatically, but steadily. Our capacity grows. We recover a little more quickly. We notice tension sooner. We breathe more deeply. We laugh more easily. We feel more present. Life hasn't become easier. We've simply become more able to meet it. That's what I believe healing often looks like. Not becoming a different person, but gradually feeling more like yourself. Becoming more aware of your body. Picture a frightened little child. A little child, maybe a 2-year-old toddler. They're overwhelmed, scared, crying, holding on as tightly as they can. Now imagine trying to persuade them to relax. You wouldn't stand there and say, "You're safe now, stop crying." You wouldn't tell them just to calm down. You wouldn't criticize them for feeling frightened. You wouldn't shout at them or get frustrated because they hadn't calmed down quickly enough. You probably would sit next to them, soften your voice, offer warmth, offer kindness, offer your calm presence, helping them feel safe. And little by little, they would begin to realize, maybe I really am safe. And once they felt safe enough, they would probably begin relaxing all by themselves. Their breathing would slow. Their body would soften. Not because someone forced them to, but because they no longer needed quite so much protection. I often think our nervous system works very much the same way. It doesn't need us to force it, or fight it, or criticize it. It needs us to understand it, listen to it, to become curious about what it's trying to tell us. And then, through repeated experiences of safety, warmth, connection and compassion, to gently show it that life may no longer require quite so much protection. That's when healing begins. So in closing, over these past 4 weeks, we've explored some really big ideas together. We've talked about safety, protection, the incredible ways our bodies learn to adapt, and the quiet, often unnoticed ways that healing begins. If there's one thing I hope you take away from this whole series, it's this. Your body isn't working against you. It's been doing its very best to look after you. Sometimes in ways that no longer serve you, but always with the intention of helping you. And that's a very different story from believing that your body is broken. When we begin listening with curiosity instead of criticism, something beautiful starts to happen. We stop fighting our bodies and we start working with them. We stop asking what's wrong with me and begin asking what happened. Why is my body protecting me? What might help my nervous system to feel just a little safer today? Because healing rarely begins with forcing, it usually begins with understanding. So as you move through your coming week, I'd love you to notice, I invite you to notice the quieter moments, a deeper breath, a little more patience, a genuine laugh, a moment of calm, feeling more present, sleeping a little more deeply, feeling able to say no when you need to, enjoying something you hadn't even realized you'd been missing. These moments matter. You don't need to chase them. You don't need to make them happen. Just simply notice them when they do. Because healing isn't always loud. It often begins quietly, one small moment of safety at a time. So thank you so much for joining me for this series. I hope it's helped you understand a little more about your body, about the wisdom of your nervous system, and perhaps helped you to see yourself with a little more kindness and compassion too. Because when we honor the ways our body has tried to protect us, we create the conditions for it to discover something new, that safety is possible, that healing is possible, and that peace isn't something we force, it's something we gently learn. So until next time, I invite you, be kind to yourself, stay curious, and keep listening to your body's wisdom. You might be surprised by everything that it's been trying to tell you all along. Thank you for allowing me to be part of your healing journey. Namaste. From my heart to your heart, namaste.